Welcome back to Men's World Today. Today we're here with Emmanuel Tetteh. He's a sports massage specialist, a holistic health specialist, and an acupuncture practitioner. Emmanuel has been in this field for the best part of a decade, and today he's here to share with us some of the benefits and interesting aspects of holistic health and acupuncture, especially for guys as we get to this age where, we start getting those aches and pains in the morning and the creaks are getting a bit louder. Emmanuel, thank you so much for coming to Men's World today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Tell me, how did you go from IT pharmaceuticals to holistic health and acupuncture?
Kind of roundabout way of trying to get back into some sort of medical field, I guess. I originally studied pharmaceutical sciences at university, but due to various reasons, I ended up, personal conflict of interest, ended up not wanting to work in that particular field, even though I got the degree. But I did have transferable skills, so I was able to get myself a job in IT, which I was able to progress in and do quite well. That was going great until I feel like one day, me and some of my colleagues were all sitting down, we had some downtime. And during that time, everyone's just looking at various different bits of information. Some guy was looking at ethical hacking and IT security. Another guy was looking at the latest kind of Windows programs that were coming out on the different kind of security. And I was there completely uninterested in all of that and looking at stuff about the mind, the body. And I kind of realized at that point this wasn't really for me, and I was doing something just for the sake of doing it and not something I actually wanted to be involved in and something I wanted to do. So that kind of began my journey. From there, through absolute luck and serendipity, I was having a drink with a friend. She told me that she was going to start studying nutrition at this place called the College of Naturopathic Medicine. I thought my kind of ears pricked up at hearing that. We had a little chat, went a little bit deeper. She told me about acupuncture. That really piqued my interest. So after that, I was like, okay, sign up to the course, signed up to the course, and jumped and joined a massage course to kind of fill in that first, because the acupuncture course was a 5-year course, and I wanted something that would kind of bridge the gap between me starting the course and then me finishing, so I would be able to actually get used to dealing with people, used to having consultations, and used to just dealing with bodies. So that's what finally got me onto this path.
Interesting. So you also mentioned helping with physical and emotional disease and how acupuncture can address that.
One of the major differences between, say, traditional Chinese medicine and Western medicine would be that instead of just looking at maybe symptoms or so forth, or looking at a specific disease, you're looking at the person and not the disease. So you look at the person as an individual and you treat them holistically. You find out what their personal symptoms are, and then you go from there. But the part of it that treats both the emotional disease as well as the physical diseases, there's no separation between emotional conditions or physical conditions. An example of that would be irritability or anger or something. In Chinese medicine, would say that is due to stagnation in the liver or liver fire. So we treat the liver channel to bring that fire down, to bring that irritability down and bring balance back to that particular organ system or that particular channel, as well as treating whatever physical ailments were there as well. It would also treat the emotional aspect of it as well.
As we get to that age where the stiffness becomes a bit more regular, the aches and pains, starts becoming a bit too often. Now everybody's got some type of ailment, some type of pain. We can't do that anymore. We can't do this anymore. Is it possible that acupuncture can do something about it? And how does it do it?
Actually, acupuncture is very good at treating musculoskeletal conditions as well. And I know the creaks and the aches and pains you're talking about, getting up from the sofa with a big breath, bending down to tie your shoelaces, and there's things that are creaking and cracking, and every day there's a new creak or crack somewhere. I understand these things as well. So acupuncture itself works by using small fine needles to insert in different parts of the body, specific locations. This is to help clear any stagnation or any blockages that are within those regions, to help things move on. There will be some kind of painful obstruction, there'll be some kind of blockage in your chi, some kind of stagnation of your energy where things are not flowing through freely. So this is where people start to get stuck as they get older, where they can't move their shoulders, neck pain, lower back pain, all of these kind of issues. A lot of this stuff can actually, in the beginning, come from maybe a lack of mobility because life gets in the way. So you get into a sedentary job because we need to earn money and all this. So you're sitting down for long periods of the day for many, many years. And this starts to slowly cause muscular dysfunction. This dysfunction leads to very dull aches. Do you know what I mean by the dull ache?
Yeah.
That little niggling pain that's always in the back of your mind. It's not a sharp stabbing pain, but it's always there and it's always quite annoying. And this is a dysfunctional pain. So acupuncture helps to treat this by revitalizing the energy within that area, bringing life back to the muscles in the area. And also from a physical perspective, it increases the blood flow. And by increasing the blood flow in an area, you're helping to bring the nutrients, fresh nutrients into that area while you remove all of the waste material from the cellular respiration or things that have been stuck in that area.
Oh, wow. So by transferring blood to those areas, you're actually helping to alleviate the pain.
The blood is your life force. So in Chinese medicine, the qi moves the blood and the blood holds the qi. So same if I was to treat you either with acupuncture or with massage, maybe I'll do a combination of the two treatments. Both of these methodologies are helping to increase the blood flow, remove any kind of underlying scar tissue or underlying damage, and just kind of help to bring nutrients in there. And this is what your blood does. So as you breathe in, you've taken your fresh oxygen. Your food creates all the nutrients that will go into your blood that will feed your different parts of your body. And then the blood that goes away and that goes back to your heart is taking away the waste material. As we get older, things start to slow down or things start to get stuck. So just by using the acupuncture or the massage, you're assisting the movement of these things and getting everything to move. And that's how it would help with these creaks and these aches and pains and these kind of conditions.
That's very interesting. Thank you. I have heard somewhere that acupuncture can also help to deal with stress, anxiety, and depression. I'm not sure you're aware of this, but the biggest killer of men under 50 is suicide.
Yes.
And 60% of guys exhibit signs of depression.
Yes, it can help definitely with anxiety, stress, depression. It helps again. This is the most important thing I say about acupuncture is allowing that free flow of energy and allowing balance to come back in. But it's very good for things like sleep disorders, which you can get from anxiety. If you're very anxious, you'll find it difficult to sleep. It can help this specific point in the body. There is actually a point just behind the back of the skull near the back of the ear called peaceful sleep. It's Anmian in Chinese, but peaceful sleep in English. And it literally does that. There's also some very calming points around the head and around the body that are very good at relaxing people. But I also think an important part of holistic treatment is the conversation that you have with the practitioner. Most people want to be heard, and that's what people struggle with. They have all these internal struggles and battles going on, and they just want someone to talk to who's not going to be judgmental. And oftentimes you can get that when you see a good practitioner. The way I see acupuncture is like this. It's a tool that we can use to help assist ourselves to heal. So I'm not healing you, I'm creating an environment within you to allow yourself to heal. So I think it's very important for us to kind of within ourselves understand that power. And something like acupuncture can help to do that. It can make you feel just feeling better and having a peaceful night's sleep. Just a little bit of peace and a little bit of something to be heard by. That makes everything feel better.
I understand that it can also help with hormonal imbalance, things like testosterone, imbalance, libido. Is that possible?
Again, short answer, yes. Acupuncture is an extremely powerful tool. It's been around for thousands of years, and for something to sustain for thousands of years, it must be doing something right. But yes, answer to your question, it helps with libido, it helps with hormonal issues. As men, just like women, over periods of time, our bodies change, our hormonal levels change, our energy levels change, and we can do there's various different things we can do to help boost these things. Again, looking at nutrition, food, diet, lifestyle, all of this stuff. But acupuncture is a very good thing to help you to rebalance that energy and to boost your energy. So boosting your kidney energy is a good way to increase libido and increase energy. So there's certain points on the lower leg, the lower back, that are very beneficial for the kidney that will help to boost these things for you. Also stuff that helps with the digestion as well, because a lot of people are saying now that your gut is your second brain. So if you can help to assist your digestion so you're having a good, clean, flowing digestion, this again will help you with your mentality, your mental clarity, and all of these things. So it's always about looking at the person and treating them holistically, and then treating them as an individual, and so you're not treating the depression, you're not treating the anxiety, You're not treating the suicidal ideations. You're treating the person. You're speaking to the person, and you're treating that person.
So, in terms of sports injuries and and things like arthritis, sciatica, and migraines.
Migraine, sciatica, lower back issues, back troubles, back, neck, and shoulders. These are some of the most common things I deal with. Yes, it's very powerful at dealing with sciatica. I've had a lot of success dealing with different people with sciatica. Very good at treating back pain, knee pain, musculoskeletal issues. It's been tried and tested, and it's very good at doing all of these things. So I personally have had a lot of success, and I can personally testament to these things.
That's quite interesting. Okay, so something I've also heard, this term I've heard, obviously it's about the difference between Western medicine and Chinese medicine. I think I heard someone say something about, you've mentioned a lot of holistic, but there was something particular they said, is it treating the root?
Some aspects of Western medicine is very symptomatic. So you'll just treat the symptom, which will be the branch. So the person comes in, tells you about the symptom, you treat that symptoms, you alleviate the symptoms, but you don't get to the deeper level of what caused that in the first place. Whereas a branch approach in Chinese medicine is, yes, you will treat the symptom, but you will also treat in the root cause as well, so you can get a more definitive reaction or a more definitive healing process for that person. So this is what we refer to as a root and branch. I think that's what you mean.
Yeah, okay, I see what you mean. So this is where you're talking about, like, dealing with you might have pain elsewhere, but you might have to deal with an organ elsewhere to move the energy.
So an example would be frozen shoulder, maybe. In Western medicine, they will treat just the shoulder, and they might treat that through some kind of intervention, operation, or whatever. But in Chinese medicine, you would use the acupuncture needles to treat the shoulder, but you'd also treat further down the arm. You might also treat into the back as well.
Right.
Again, depending on how this is presenting, you can even treat the hip or the knee to affect the shoulder as well. It's very interesting how you can use the body, different parts of the body, to fix other parts.
Yeah, that definitely sounds interesting. How soon should one seek acupuncture treatment? Because as we just mentioned about all these pains, if you're someone who just discovered the pain,
my answer would be as early as possible. Right. Because holistic practitioners, we tend to be the person that you see last, after you've been to see the doctor, after you've been to see the different kind of specialist. And usually when you get to a point where you feel that you're not getting what you need, that's when you come to a holistic practitioner. Oftentimes, this is the reason why people will say it doesn't work, because they've come at a very late stage. So early as possible would be my answer. Referring back to some of the philosophies around Chinese medicines, one of the way they look at a Chinese doctor is you look after the person when they're well, and you keep them well. If the person gets sick, it's the doctor's fault because they weren't doing enough to keep the person in the right path as well. Whereas our system is backward. You wait till you're sick, and then you go and see a doctor. But sometimes that may even be too late. We should be more aware of our health. And if you feel something in your body that's slightly off, then you should seek some kind of help. It's less of a pill to cure all of your ills, and it's more of a synergistic practice or a symbiotic relationship between you and the practitioner, where you work together. The practitioner isn't necessarily healing you, but it's helping you to do it for yourself. So early as possible would be my answer to that one.
Thank you for that. Well, guys, you heard that. Early as possible. Is there any particular way one should prepare for an acupuncture session?
The first thing is come in well hydrated. Go to the toilet if you need. Wear loose clothing. Avoid taking painkillers if you can, if you're able to withstand the pain, because the painkillers numb your senses, and it's kind of important for us to know what we want. The feedback. We want to understand what's coming back from you in a natural state.
How soon can you expect to see any material results from an acupuncture course?
It's a great question. How long have you had your condition? Would be the question that would come to mind. There's two, actually, I'll give you two answers to that. The first one is how long have you had your condition? That can depend. If you've had your condition for a number of years, it may take roughly about a month for each year that you've had your condition to get you to complete health.
Right.
But as I said earlier, with regards to the root and branch approach, you will see some immediate changes as well. You will feel calmer. You will feel more relaxed. You may need to go to the toilet straight away after a treatment. You may have a very good night's sleep that night. You may still feel things like the needles might still feel like they're in, even though they've been taken out. You still might feel them in certain places. You still might feel certain kind of throbbing, and you might just feel a general kind of calm and sense of ease around you. So generally that's how things happen. Usually what happens as well is in the first few days after a treatment, you feel better, and then you'll go back to how you felt before. But as the treatments progress over time, that period that you feel better gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Okay. I'm a little bit scared of needles. I can take an injection, but it's not my preferred thing. So, like, how can you reassure guys? I know lots of men will think they're very, tough and big and masculine or whatever, but we are still sensitive to a degree, What sort of reassurances? I mean, what can you say to someone who's afraid of?
The very first thing I'd say is there's absolutely nothing wrong with having any kind of fear of needles. Your body is protecting you. You don't want to hurt yourself. You don't want something that's going to hurt you. I don't like it when people say there's something wrong with the fear of needles, because I think it is the most normal thing to have, to not want to be stabbed. It makes perfect sense to me. What I would say is it's actually thinner than a hypodermic needle, and also we're not injecting anything into your body. That's part of where the pain comes from when you have an injection. Generally, what it tends to feel like is when the needle first goes in, it feels like a little flick. I would describe the feeling like dropping a pebble into water. You feel ripples coming out from where the needle's placed in. You feel ripples emanating out from that point, a kind of warmth, a kind of nice dull ache kind of sensation. We are looking for a sensation when we put the needles in called something called dachi, which is kind of like a little kind of, oh yeah, I felt that. But it's not pain per se, and it's much less pain than pain for a needle. And again, this is one of the reasons why I do both massage, sports massage, and acupuncture, because I feel both have their power and their place. And for people who don't want to be touched, there's acupuncture. For people who don't want to have needles, there's massage. One of the first things I did before I started the student class and I started putting needles into other people was I made sure I could put needles into myself first. I felt that it would be a bit weird to be wanting to do that to other people without being willing to do and to understand what I'm going to feel and what the person's going to feel. It's been my go-to form of treatment for well over 20 years. It's been my go-to form of treatment, and this is one of the reasons why I studied the subject as well. So
that's very reassuring.
Most people tell me that they haven't even felt the needle go in.
Right, okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
At the moment, acupuncturists are becoming a bit more popular, right? How do you know, or how do you sift the wheat from the chaff?
I guess first and foremost, because we live in a reviews-based economy, looking at reviews is one way to go. But if the person's quite new, you need to make sure that they're insured. They're insured with a good company. They're accredited by one of the governing bodies. There are a few different governing bodies: the British Acupuncture Council, the Association of Traditional Chinese Medicine, the British Acupuncture Federation. There's quite a few various different ones, and they all offer different benefits. But yeah, generally make sure they're insured. Make sure they've got the right credentials about them. And I forgot. Make sure they're qualified.
Okay. Given that you have got some background in pharmaceuticals, and I understand that you also did a bit of capoeira, martial arts as well.
Yeah.
How has that impacted your ability to practice?
The aspect of pharmaceuticals, I believe, has helped me because I understand that world. I understand the world from the classical scientist world, and therefore I can speak in that language as well, which kind of gives a little bit more credibility, because sometimes you come up against people and they'll treat all of these holistic practices as woo-woo because they don't see enough peer-reviewed papers, but there are a lot of peer-reviewed papers on acupuncture, just to put that out there. So reading scientific papers, doing the course in a certain way, understanding the biomedicine and all that. So that's the pharmaceutical side of things. The martial arts side of things, I guess it's like I wanted balance in my life. If I were trained to do these arts where you can hurt, I wanted to do something that kind of brought balance to that, where I could heal as well. And there is that aspect of a lot of us from this particular generation, born in the 70s or whatever, we all watched a lot of kung fu films. We watched a lot of martial arts films. We fantasized about all of that stuff. And yes, that was part of my journey. I also was very lucky enough to study under an instructor called Jerry Tan, who taught me some kung fu as well. And within that, there were some acupuncture points and stuff that we used. So that was another thing that led me onto that side of things. So I believe that everything that I've done up until this point has helped me to get to this point. And if if one thing was to change, I might not be the same person or be in the same profession. So no regrets in anything that's been before. All of that has brought me to where I am now.
I guess finally, what's new in your world in terms of your practice?
So I actually work with a lady called Donna Scott who has a business there called Serenity Beauty. She also does beauty treatments as well. I do a lot of mainly massage from that particular location, but soon we will be adding acupuncture into that location. And then I'll be opening a new place. I'll be having an extra day in the week in Dulwich, a place called Oru Space. So I'll be practicing out of there as well. Right. But I do corporate jobs, what I call a corporate wellness day as well, where I go in with my massage kit, take that in, have block sessions of massage. So not just only doing the chair massage, but offering people a proper back, neck and shoulders, giving them a proper consultation, giving them some naturopathic advice at the end of it or holistic advice at the end of it, and also during the day running like workshops alongside while I do the massages. I have some automated workshops running alongside that, so the other people can do things like learn some acupressure points to give themselves massage, different kind of stretches they can do to alleviate the aches, pains, niggles and stuff they pick up from working in a desk job, being stuck in a position all day long. So these are the things that I'm...
So do you do any acupuncture during the day?
Not with the corporate sessions. I do acupressure, so using my fingers or using finger pressure on the acupuncture points, but not acupuncture.
The funny thing about what you mentioned about the fact that after treatment you feel better, and then the longer you leave it, you go back to your original state. So my mother suffers from vascular dementia. Mm-hmm. A few years ago, when she could walk now and then, she had like 3 major strokes and maybe 4 small ones. Yeah. And she had arthritis as well. At one point, we started taking her to see an acupuncture practitioner. And what I remember is, immediately after the treatment, this woman would forget about her walking stick. And she would be on the bus, going shopping, carrying shopping. A week after, back down again,
Well, what you brought up there is actually it's a really, really good point, because a lot of, again, this is a difference between Western medicine and Chinese medicine. We expect to take something, have an operation, whatever, and instantly feel better and everything will be fine and we stay better and that's it. So when you start seeing the up and down with holistic practices, people give up and they give in and they don't continue it, and then they gradually fall off and get worse. It took you a long time to get sick. It took you a long time to get the condition. It won't, if you want to heal from something properly, it's not going to be an overnight thing. It's true. A shift in mentality, a shift in thinking of how we look at somebody's progress and what we understand health and healing to be, I'd say. But yeah, that story, I'm sorry she wasn't able to find someone else.
Well, Emmanuel, thank you so much for coming to Men's World today. We hope you found this information useful. If you did, please like, subscribe, share it amongst your friends. And until next time, have a good day and goodbye.